My girlfriend says that I make her too much of a priority in our relationship. I love my GF a lot, and I'm willing to do anything for her. But she doesn't want it, and doesn't want to reciprocate it. I like to make decisions together as a team, but she values more autonomy and individuality. I have suggested an open relationship, to allow her more autonomy, however she wants to stay exclusive. It's not that she doesn't love me as much as I love her, but she doesn't want a relationship where we are responsible for each other's emotions. For example, I always prioritize our relationship, and her, over work and friends, but she doesn't want us to prioritize us, and me, at the same level. This causes quite a few of my boundaries to be broken as they are a lower priority to her. I've been finding it so hard to love someone, and not be impacted by decisions they make unless I start to withdraw and become an avoidant again. My girlfriend and I love differently. Is there any way this can work? One of the commentators on the story. I'm not quite sure what you mean by a relationship where we are responsible for each other's emotions. Healthy relationships need people who are responsible for their own feelings, and to put your feelings on another person is not fair to them. However, if you mean responsive to one another's emotions, that makes perfect sense to me. So, if she does something that makes you uncomfortable, you want her to respond to that feeling, hear it, and compromise or work through it. To your question, use your words. Withdrawing and becoming avoidant or passive only worsens things. Communicate how you feel and what you would like to see different. I'm not talking ultimatums, those are about other people. I'm talking about boundaries, those are about you. State how her actions have made you feel. State your boundaries. Let her respond the way she will. Recognize it, probably, based on your post, won't be the way you want her to. It's unfortunate, but people can want different things in different ways. Another response to the story. You make a great point. I have to respect that she's honest about that at least. I guess my logic behind a non-monogamous relationship is it would take the strain off me. I adore her, we have a lot of mutual interests and we have fun together. If it's more casual, then I wouldn't have the expectation that she'd be there for me as much as in a fully committed relationship. I know for her, she just doesn't want to commit as much of herself to me, which is okay to want, but I just don't know if I'll ever be okay with it in an exclusive relationship. Another response to the story. This is why my ex said things didn't work with us. You can't make them your entire priority. You have to be able to balance you, your goals, and her all together as equal. It makes them feel you're clingy, obsessive, and needy. You have to make them feel the attraction BC you can balance them all. You want to strive to succeed in life so you can support them in the future. I know it's hard, but try not to come off as desperate and never lose your confidence. I fell into all of this towards the end BC of communication problems. She started being distant and noticed things were changing. Every time I asked what's bothering her, she said nothing, just some things, etc. would never tell me. So I panicked and focused all on her and our relationship. Apparently that's not good BC. Then you stop focusing on the other important things. They lose respect for you. And once they do that, you'll be like me, dying on the inside, and not matter how you know the things you did and how hard you're working on them. You will push them away and be lost. Trust me. It's the worst feeling in the world. And me and her are older. 39 and 44. And if other people, friends and family get in their ear about it, may as well pack your BC. There's no hope. I truly hope things work out for you. And always communicate, and compromise. Best of luck. Another response to the story. First off, the obvious problem with your relationship is that there is an obvious disparity in investment level, and mismatched expectations. You want a serious relationship, she wants something with a lot less commitment and emotional intimacy. How long have you guys been an item? Do you live together? How enmeshed are your lives? These contextual clues are kind of important when it comes to assessing the situation. Next, I'm not gonna pull my punches on this one, but understand my intent is therapeutic, rather than denigrating. Anyway, you come off as needy op. And I say that because of the open relationship proposal. That's a pretty huge compromise trying to keep your partner happy, and it's one she didn't want and didn't want to reciprocate. It's not normal to make your relationship the single dominant priority in life. Making it a priority is one thing. Letting it trump everything else in your life, all the time, is another. It makes your partner uncomfortable because she feels pressure to feel the same way you do, and she doesn't. She could still care about you, but not think you're her everything. That stuff is Disney movie crap. Point is, the more pressure you apply on that point, intentionally or not, the sooner the bottom falls out. Speaking of which, this reminds me a bit of 500 Days of Summer. Learn the lesson JGL's character had to learn, before the breakup, which I have to be honest, it sounds like where this is going. It might not be something either of you wants, but it'll take both of you playing your cards right to restore balance in this relationship. It sounds like she's been pretty clear about what she wants from this relationship, and it's very different from what you want. So, no, I don't really see much hope of this working. If you want to give it one more try, you need to think hard about which behaviors are actually deal breakers for you and then set an actual boundary. A boundary is about your behavior, not hers. If you do X it will hurt me or I don't want you to do Y isn't a boundary. If you do X, I will break up with you, or however else you will respond, is a boundary. It's about you and she has no control over it. Set your boundary wherever you decide you need it to be, express it clearly, and see what she decides to do. And then follow through. For whatever it's worth, the lying would be my deal breaker. Some of the rest of this feels pretty negotiable to me. Why shouldn't she travel without you, as long as she sometimes travels with you too? But it's hard to build up any trust and commitment with someone who will casually lie to you. But it's fine if your deal breaker is different. You do have to tell her and mean it, though. Some people have the inability to feel someone they are in a relationship with as a priority due to multiple possible reasons. One example is being in many relationships that they was not and it changed them. But in some cases people have a hard time taking those emotions and levels of commitment priority from others cause they have either not had that before and or no seen that done as an example to them. Like parents never being such for them to witness. So they have no understanding on how to be the same and return a similar connection. If this is a huge issue for you, I think you need to create a time frame to see if either she can change in some way or if you can change and be able to loosen up your part of the attachment level of priority. If you cannot and she cannot, then you will need to reconsider your relationship. Either you can deal with her being that way or you can learn to be more that way. If not, then you need to think possibly moving on to someone who can return the same level of a commandment priority level as you. If you can deal with it, then you will just have to come to terms that she will not make decisions including you like you will her. One day, years from now, if you're still toughing it out, maybe she will. But there is no guarantee either way. She has to want to change, and until she wants to, then there is nothing you can do. Other than try to talk about it over and over like beating a dead horse, or giving a ultimatum. And that might lead to bigger issues. Another response to the story. I am in this same boat, however my girlfriend, now ex, never actually discussed this with me, but definitely it's the case. I wish she had been able to trust me and trust I love her completely and unconditionally so we could have had real conversations about our separate ideals and expectations and worked it out. In my case I expect me from someone who isn't and it gets me hurt every time and it's unfair to both me and my partner. I need to fix that or it will always cost me people I love. Like I'm damn near suicidal after losing my favorite person in the world, my life's a mess, and it's affecting everything I do. She entered into a traditional relationship with someone who upholds the values tied to a traditional relationship, but never really wanted for real because of her alternative lifestyle and aspirations. The thing is, I can see things I need to work on and I will because I'm tired of my abandonment issues and affecting my relationships. I'm always the one getting hurt in relationships where I truly love the other, and especially when I end up with a narcissist whom I'm a magnet for being an empath. Had I got a chance and honest conversation about things, she'd see I could adjust, not for saving the relationship or to keep from losing her as much as it would save me. Relationships can be right for the people in them and only them, and wrong for the rest of the world's couples. I need to be not so rigid in my views on relationships because I'm basing it off of fear of abandonment and some insecurities I believe. So it would actually benefit me to be open to a different kind of relationship because the love is still there, it's not going anywhere. I love her as a person and I mean that. So my love shouldn't come with conditions. Like she shouldn't have to lie about her life to keep me happy, and I know she don't want a monogamous relationship, so to truly love her I can't allow her to change anything for me. She tried because she truly loves me, but it ain't in her to be exclusive. She loves me for how I love her and it's okay. I can't expect me out of people and not get hurt in long run when I've placed my expectations on them. It's a recipe for failure, so I need to fix it. I needed to accept that she loves me, but it won't be like I love, and it's okay. Only way we'd ever work is if I fix my attachment and abandonment issues and insecurities that I need to fix regardless of her, for my own personal well-being. I need to rethink what is acceptable for me in relationships because things are way different nowadays than they were only a few years ago, and traditional relationships are going bye-bye. I get left every time dating in today's society because it's different now. So to avoid perpetually self-sabotaging relationships and getting hurt, I need to reevaluate my needs and wants and expectations. I love her more than anyone, and if I gotta think outside the box and accept some different perspectives I will, because ultimately it will benefit me to grow and save me the hurt my abandonment issues causes me and my partners. I just need honesty. It's so rare anymore. If I just seen full transparency in her, I could go hard loving her no matter her lifestyle, like she could escort, cam, whatever, and I could be in a relationship with her had she been honest about things. Her hiding parts of herself was obvious and it triggered my abandonment issues and caused me to be a dick, and I got depressed because she don't love like I do also. I needed to accept her way of giving love because none of us have the right to tell another how to give their love. It's for the individual to do as they wish, and my hard-headed ass didn't see that at first. She accepted how I loved her, but I couldn't accept her way, and that's not okay either. That's not unconditional, it's controlling, and it's not right. I do a open relationship with her, and in the beginning I wouldn't have, but she's opening my eyes to things that I got rethink if I'm ever gonna be in a relationship and have peace and not run them off with my codependency. There's my thoughts on it in conjunction with being in same boat. She's the only girl I ever did this much soul searching for, and I hope to get her back one day. She's my twin flame, she's my friend. She's my person, and love like ours and connections like ours is rare. I don't want to give that up because I can't evolve. Next story. I recently found out I have an 11-year-old daughter. So this girl, 35, that I, 34, briefly had a thing with tracked me down and told me her daughter is likely mine. She is married and her husband have both been aware of this from the beginning. She also just revealed this info to the daughter. We got a DNA test and she is indeed mine. The mother gave me all sorts of reasons as to why she couldn't bring herself to reveal the truth until now, but her and her husband has always planned on telling me. We are going to try to get through this without getting involved in the courts. I really don't want to pursue the court because I'm afraid of what it might do to my daughter and the family she's been with from day one. Anyone have any experience with this kind of thing? Would love some advice on how to build a relationship with my daughter. I got to meet her for the first time recently and we had a great time. It seems a tone has changed since we met though. Before, we were texting a lot, getting to know each other before we met. The mother and I were also texting a lot. After we met, the communication has slowed way down, from both of them. Maybe I'm overthinking things and need to try and relax. Advice on how to proceed/build relationship with daughter I just found out I have. Reply to the story. Kindly get a lawyer to put a parenting agreement in place and ensure both your rights and the rights of your daughter are protected. You can do this as amicably as possibly, just let the mom know that it's a backstop in case anything goes wrong for her or for your daughter, i.e. if mom gets sick or can't take care of the child, if the child gets sick and you need access to health services, interaction with school, etc., you need to legally be seen as a parent or you'll find yourself being up against a technicality at some point that you can't get over. A judge is unlikely to penalize you in any way since you had no idea of your daughter's existence and you are being proactive in this. Talk to her mother about what topics might be taboo or reach an agreement on how you will communicate answers for questions she will likely have. The worst thing you can do is answer a question poorly and be seen as alienating her from her mother and stepfather. Mostly it will be about letting your daughter set the pace. Let her ask questions and feel you out. Try to be your normal self, or as close to it as you can around a child. I know some people need filters. I found out in my 30s that the man I had called my father wasn't my father. I got lucky and my biological father was very welcoming and loving and apologetic for not being there. But at times he tries too hard to make up for the lost time. Don't try too hard, it's going to take time to get to know each other and you're going to have to learn a whole new set of skills in dealing with a preteen daughter. Without any warm-up. Just be available to her when she needs you and let the small stuff and sometimes hateful words slide a bit. You'll find your rhythm and you shouldn't be afraid that getting it wrong now and then will ruin her. She'll be just fine and you'll be just fine. Another response to the story. I have an 11-year-old and they can be so passionate about something yet so finicky. Also I'm guessing school just started so that will really affect the flow of conversation. I'd suggest y'all make plans once a month to hang out if you live close. Once a month is a nice slow start, easy to maintain. As for texting, ask her about her favorite stuff, I'm sure you have, but focus on that. Ask questions. Research it, more questions. At that age they probably have specific interests and opinions but toying with the idea of their identify, especially socially. So, music, YouTubers, games like Roblox, etc. will be good things to ask about. Make her feel interesting. Let her talk about herself. Let there be lulls in the conversation but don't go more than 5-ish days without saying hi. Short is good. Even one sentence every few days helps them feel pursued but not pressured. Slow, steady, dependable. Let them know you're interested but not needy. Preteens can pull away randomly. Don't take it personally. Another response to the story. I didn't meet my dad until I was 13. Our conversations slowly started to fade after getting to know each other and my father handled it poorly by calling daily, insisting that I come visit, insisting he could come visit, etc. And now that I'm 26 I don't talk to him at all. One of the most important things to remember is that she's got 11 years of habits that haven't involved you and at this stage she's developed things like her own interests/hobbies and personality and you're going to have to roll with whatever and just be available if you want to build a strong bond. Best of luck and props for facing it instead of trying to run. Another response to the story. Did your ex's husband think the daughter was his biologically? You kind of left out a lot. Were you the mother's affair partner or unaware side guy? How does the man who has been raising her for 11 years feel? If he doesn't have any animosity towards you, it would be good to talk directly with him. DNA doesn't make you a father. Loving a child unconditionally does, and that is what that husband has been doing for 11 years. You have a right to be upset that it was hidden from you, but try to keep a level head and think of what is best for your biological daughter. Your daughter and the husband are technically the victims in this situation just as you are. You never know, your daughter may be content on keeping you at a distance because of the bond she already has with your ex's husband. Somehow someone is going to get feelings hurt or toes stepped on. Only one who wins here is the mother, who now can hit you up for 7 years minimum of child support. I think the communication between you and the mother has died down because the husband was possibly getting uncomfortable with all the messaging back and forth between you and his wife. I myself am in a similar situation. I may have a 25-year-old son. His mother would never permit me to get a paternity test when he was a baby because she'd already tagged the other guy she was seeing behind my back as the father since I ghosted her when I found out she was cheating on me, or in reality, I may have been the other man. I was too young, didn't know my rights, and didn't have money to fight her, so I just had to let it go. He found out about me after he was grown, has a friendship with me, has no desire to do a paternity test but is glad that I'd be willing to do one if he ever asks, and he appreciated that I stayed around as an uncle figure to watch him grow up. Since then, I have raised one bio child, helped raise my 3 stepchildren, and a godchild. My stepchildren/godchild love me just as much as my biological child, well, adult now. Another response to the story. I was also thinking that maybe the husband was getting uncomfortable and it made them take a step back, but it's also possible, like others have said, that it's just the excitement leading up to meeting. You meet and then after it's just less enthusiasm or something else is keeping the daughter preoccupied, like school or friends. On the other hand, it's possible that meeting Op wasn't a positive experience for the daughter and Op wasn't who she thought he would be, or he said things that made her uncomfortable. It could have been too much too fast for her and she needs some space. There's a lot of reasons why this could have happened. I think the advice to reach out to them and ask about doing a once-a-month thing is fair. Sometimes you have to start off slow with kids, and asking for too much too fast might lead to resentment and trouble. I understand that Op wants to fully be involved in her life, but he needs to take it slow and go at her pace. Another response to the story. A couple of thoughts, and if this was all already said, I apologize up front. I didn't read through all the responses. Was there any discussion with her or the mom of expectations of a relationship past the meeting phase? Please keep in mind that while you father the child, she already has a dad at home who has provided and cared for her for the last 11 years. From a health history, it's good to know bio dad. Also, it may have slowed down because this is a little kid, maybe 5th or 6th grade. She has a lot to process. I wouldn't push too hard to force a relationship, just make your intentions or desired outcome clear to her, and her mom, and see where it goes. Next story. I stopped my friend going home with a group of guys at a party. Let me start this with she was really drunk, stumbling, laughing and slurring words, like 3 shots deep, and chugged a vodka/coke to impress some guy because I have no idea. I told this story to someone else and some people said if she wanted a group of guys drunk then I should have let her. We were at a party and everyone was drinking, except for me and a fair few guys, but I was driving people home later, mostly girls that I was with because they asked me to. One of my friends that I saw come to the party later then got drunk and got approached by a few guys that I knew mainly from bad stories. Rumors mainly, and a girl I know went with them and they took pictures and videos of her naked and had sex with her when she was incredibly drunk and high at a party once, and she doesn't remember much of it. Anyways, hid between them and moved her over towards my best friend because she was concerned about her as well. The guys walked away when they saw me coming over to her. If I didn't step over to her then she would have likely went with them, and I didn't want to let that happen because she was too drunk to type a structured text, left alone to be alone with a bunch of guys that she doesn't know. She got mad at me the next day. Apparently someone told her that I was stopping her from flirting with some guys or something. I tried explaining but she's on the fence. Can I change anything here, and should I have left her to what was going to happen? Reply to the story. First, you are a really good friend. Second, she's most likely really embarrassed that she got that drunk that she didn't recognize the danger she was in. I would not take it personally, just give her a bit of space to come to terms with the what if. And now, given all the current going on in the world today regarding treatment of women, don't stop being an ally. Sometimes, you'll be praised. Sometimes, you'll be cursed. Remember, humans are complex beings that don't always make a lick of sense. Also, start conversations with your male friends so that they too are being good friends. Once it becomes the norm in your social circles, expand outward. Another response to the story. Just tell her truth and tell her if it's a problem. Fine, nice knowing you. There is literally nothing else to it. You did a good thing, as long as your intentions were genuine, and it wasn't some weird thing where you secretly like this girl and are trying to get her by being the nice guy. You either did a pure good deed, or you didn't. If the former, then do what I and others have said. If the latter, good luck. Next story. I've been with my boyfriend for 2.5 years. He's 42 and I'm 31. I felt quite a bit younger than him when we first met. I was 28. I know that's not young by any means, but I felt younger than him. I felt how everyone feels in their 20s, like I'll never get old. But then I turned 30 and it all changed. I think I'm now having a crisis because I'm in my 30s. I don't expect my boyfriend to be my only source of admiration, validation or attention. I don't think anyone should expect that from their partner. But I also don't feel around him the same way I felt when we first met. The first year we dated, I felt like a princess around him. He still makes me feel special, just not the same way. And I get it, when people date for a long time, the novelty wears off and feelings change. Infatuation is replaced with deeper, less superficial feelings. My boyfriend is not one of those people that is huge on giving compliments. He describes everything as either alright or great, alright being everything from terrible to good, and great being amazing. He's not big on words and shows his feelings through actions. He has a hard time talking about his feelings or emotions. He has done more for me than any partner before him. I've had 4 boyfriends and 1 fiancé before I met him, but I sometimes wish he would just say I love about you. Also, he has never told me he loves me. Actually, he hasn't told any of his ex-girlfriends either, and quite frankly I don't think he's capable of falling in love. It's just who he is. Mind you, I'm not in love with him either. I love him as a person, but am not in love with him. A lot of my boyfriend's married female friends, who are all mostly 40 plus, give off this desperate old woman vibe where they flirt too much with everyone, including my boyfriend, and dress provocatively just to see if they still got it. I don't want to do that. Desperation makes me cringe. Has anyone else experienced feeling this way in long-term relationships while getting older, and what do you do to stay feeling sexy and beautiful without seeking external validation from men? Reply to the story. Why are you picking a relationship where you two aren't in love with each other? Maybe that's why you don't feel like you have the attention and desire you want. Because your partner doesn't love you. It seems like a pretty bad setup for both of you. 30 is young. If you are freaking out about being a desperate old lady now, it seems like you probably have a bunch of internal work to do. This is as young as you'll ever be, and in a few years you'll be mad that you decided you were old when you were so young. Another response to the story. Yes, it's not an uncommon feeling. I'd say you have to talk to him. Let him know you obviously appreciate him and your relationship and all he's done. But also let him know that you want to spice things back up. Do that whole love language thing. See if that helps you both have your needs met. Really, 99% of stuff in a relationship can be worked out with honest communication. BTW, you are still so young. I'm older than you, but I remember feeling like 30 was old. But let me tell you, life does get better with age. And maybe at 40 you'll just kind of stop what anyone else thinks and really live your life how you want. Either way, hope this helps you. Good luck op. Another response to the story. I'm still hung up on 28 not being young by any means. I perceive 28 and even 31 as still prime dating and living years. I wouldn't worry about proving you've still got it because you already do. The 30s especially I feel like are a decade where things really start to separate out. You see 36 years old who seem like they're already basically retired and 36-year-old who are fully enjoying the adventure of life and just getting started. I wouldn't give up on getting what you really want too soon. Another response to the story. I'd say choosing something stable does not mean there is no love. I used to think being in love means butterflies and stomach all the time, missing him a lot when he's not around, pine for him a lot, always passionate no matter how long time has passed. I've come to realize that a real healthy relationship, and if the person loves you, said person should let you feel safe and comfortable with being yourself. My current partner, we have applied for a flat where we are living in, lets me be myself. He used to be a little uncomfortable that I'm always loud and all over the place. I laugh out loud when I'm happy or find something funny. I get overly excited over small things etc. He have since gotten used to it and let me be as long I'm not doing anything dangerous. I'm not sure how you and your partner is like, but maybe you want to really consider what you want. I'm not saying you should settle, but more like do you think this is the person you want to be with for the rest of your life? Maybe he is someone who shows he's loved through actions but you're someone who feels validated through words, you know, the 5 language of love. Try discussing with him to see if there is any way to change the little habits to help make each other feel validated. I'd say be honest with him and talk about this. It is so very important to be open and discuss about it with your partner than brood over it on your own. He won't know if you don't tell him explicitly and discuss. I'm a huge fan of just being honest and just tell things as it is, what I want and don't want and my likes and dislikes. Another response to the story. Maybe you feel old and undesirable at 31 because you have terrible taste in men and terrible priorities in relationships? I'm a 31-year-old woman too and the way you talk about age is nuts. You know 28 is not young by any means. What? Where are you getting this question? Ma'am, in many arenas of life we are young. You don't have malaise and low self-esteem because you're 31 or because you're in a long-term relationship. None of your feelings are a natural consequence of being a certain age or in a certain relationship status. You feel undesired because you're with someone you freely admit you don't think is capable of being in love with you. You feel despondent and hopeless because for some inexplicable reason you've decided this is the best you can ever expect and yet it's still not making you happy, and rather for looking for actual passion and desire and happiness for yourself, which you are not too old to do, you look around for things to criticize about other people's relationships. Please get therapy. You sound so sad. Your life is not over and your desirability is not expired or depleted. Your mind is playing all kinds of tricks on you. Don't be with people you're not in love with and who aren't in love with you.